I had an argument a couple of days ago with a dear friend of mine on Facebook. Nothing more horrible than that. So here's what happened. This friend of mine had been writing on really disdainful things on his private profile, which is a legitimate thing to do on one's private profile. But he was sending them out to the entire universe, and I felt somehow like he was silently putting me in the basket with a whole lot. And I still believe that. If you feel angry with the entire world, you don't need to write the names of those you're angry with, and keeping the names of those you graciously and secretly pardon locked in your heart only for yourself, to me, unfortunately, is not enough. You shoot blindly, you kill everybody. So I decided to write a comment right under his latest post. The thing is that I acted like some sort of a coward, somebody who tries to hold on to everything and save the day, which is one of my greatest flaws, since I have major difficulties in standing on just one side, because I do believe in some kind of heavenly justice, which to me should rule everything here on planet Earth. So I did not confront my friend directly and as bravely as I should have done, but instead I fell into his trap and I wrote something which was redundantly hypocritical and very moralistic too. This friend, he knows me well, and he got me. Things degenerated. I went on, still in a very untruthful way, because I just didn't want him to know how angry I was with him, and he went on in a very rageful way against me. So the upshot is, he cancelled me, he removed me from his friends, and I did so too, deeply. But why do I tell you this story? Certainly not to accuse my friend here, but I usually start from my private experiences to analyze Shakespeare. The interesting thing is that at one point, I wrote down on my comment, "You should have mercy of human miseries." But I was the one who did not have mercy of his misery, my friend's miseries. And I condemned him, so I'm not better than he is. And this is exactly what Angelo does in Measure for Measure. Angelo is the new deputy in Vienna, a man of structure and firm abstinence. That's what Shakespeare writes. He's strict and severe, and he has to re-establish order and decency and justice in town. And Vienna has gone wildly mad. There's corruption and anarchy. So Angelo puts Claudio to death, because Claudio is guilty of having slept with his fiancée outside marriage. And that wasn't allowed, of course, at the time. And finally, when Isabella, Claudio's sister, goes to Angelo to plead for the life of her brother, Angelo does exactly the same thing that I did with my friend a couple of days ago. Isabella says, "I have a brother is condemned to die. I do beseech you, let it be his fault and not my brother." And Angelo replies, "Condemn the fault and not the actor of it. Why? Every fault's condemned ere it be done." Sorry for my English. Mine were the very cipher of a function to find the faults whose fine stands in record and let go by the actor. And that is exactly what I did to my friend. I did not condemn his fault only, I did not pardon him, but I condemned both his fault and him. I wrote he should have pitied all human miseries, but I did not pity his own misery. Let's move on. Isabella, she doesn't let go, and she reminds Angelo that he could save Claudio's life if he only wanted to. And Angelo says, "Look what I will not, that I cannot do." Now, if you ask me, it's a very sad thing not being able to do something which we do not want to do. I did learn it on my own expense, in the very hard way. You strictly stick to your own principles, you screw up friendships. If you're excessively incorruptible and righteous to yourself, and unable to maybe close one eye from time to time, that will lead you to some sort of heroic solitude. William Shakespeare has always been very busy with the issue of justice and the relationship between human justice and God's justice. And there is where mercy gets in between. Shakespeare talks about mercy in each and every one of his works. Angelo's sin, and mine, was to proclaim himself minister of God's justice while he had no clue whatsoever of what mercy meant. He thought his function was to wake up God's justice and sentence all sinners to death. But he seems to ignore that God is merciful to all men, and most of all to criminals. God doesn't take no revenge on us. Angelo is not God, but he thinks he is. He's pretty much convinced he's an angel, while in spite of his own name, he's pretty much a demon. And he's on his way to try and abuse Isabella sexually. That's why Shakespeare is a genius. We all know how the black comedy ends. Angelo doesn't just go against the human law, but he goes against the natural law. He goes against humanity by trying and rape Claudio's sister Isabella. In less elegant words, he proves himself to be a piece of shit, like anybody else on this planet. But at the end, he gets pardoned. And for a man like Angelo, to be pardoned is the most painful and most severe punishment you could receive. Who knows if he'll ever be able to put up with the idea that he is imperfect and mortal and a sinner as anybody else. And furthermore, with the idea he's been loved.